All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope this week is off to a good start for you. Just a few short weeks before our next break. So I know that's always kind of the hardest part of the year sometimes, is that that little break where you get that sense of freedom and then it's just ripped away from you, you know. So one more time, I am going to put into the chat the link for the sign in today. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're just going to be talking about a few supplemental math websites. I picked my 6 favorite, but I'm going to make a list of these websites so that you can find them easily, but also that you can add to these, because there are way more amazing supplemental websites that I've probably never heard of. And so I want to make sure that it's not just me doing the talking on this one, especially since I'm not needing to go to them every day like I did whenever I was teaching math. And so if you have some, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share those out. Okay. So today, the agenda, I'm going to talk about these six websites. We're going to look at Joe Bowler and UCubed. We're going to take a look at Dan Meyer and the 3-act math problems. We're going to look at Estimation 180, which one doesn't belong, and then Khan Academy and Prodigy. And again, so if you have any more, I'm going to go ahead and share this now. If you could maybe start adding to this list, and but I've also put all the links on here so that you can get to them a little bit more easily. But I'm going to share this into the chat as well, so you can get to these links that I'm going to be going to today a little bit more easily, and as well as share your own. So anyways, like I said, I hope everyone's doing okay today. And I have turned on the Q&A. If you have any questions that you need addressed, first of all, you can put them there, but don't hesitate to interrupt me at any time and tell me, hey, you're not sharing your screen, or hey, I have a question, and so forth. So if you would like to speak up at any moment, you will not hurt my feelings by going ahead and doing that. I see that Tina is having an issue with her sound. Hopefully I'm not just speaking without anyone listening today. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was a little bit worried there for a second because everyone was typing it. So Tina, well, she can't hear me. Oh, good idea, Amanda. All right, I'm going to share my entire screen here. And if you are having sound issues, Tina, you should be able to click on the 3-dot menu here, click on Settings, and just make sure that your sound and your speakers are coming out of the right spot. If they're not coming out of the right spot, you might have to just close this out and try one more time from the beginning. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. As I said, let's see, am I sharing my entire screen right now? It was giving me a weird look, so let's try that again.
You were.
Okay. All right, now I know for sure that I am. All right, so the first one that I wanted to share off today is UCubed. And if you have ever used UCubed, type into the chat, tell me your favorite thing that you have used. The creator of this website is Joe Bowler, and I have had the privilege of listening to Joe Bowler do a couple keynote lessons or talks at some math conferences that I've been able to attend over the years, and she's one of the best. And I really enjoy listening to her and the amazing research that she has done into the work that she does. She is from, well, she's originally from across the pond, I guess. And so she's but she does now work. She's a professor at Stanford with mathematics at Stanford. And the research that she, as I said, that she puts into it is just nothing less than astonishing. And when you're at this website, you can take a look at the books that she has done, that she has written. And she's got quite a few of them. The one that she is probably best known for, at least for me, she's best known for, is the work that she's done into growth mindset inside of a math classroom. And so if you are, first of all, if you are unfamiliar with a growth mindset, then she's the person to get started with that as far as in the math classroom. And she has done some collaborative work with a few people along the way in that regards. And so anyways, it's great work. And so, but that's not the only one. She's done, like I said, she's written quite a few books, and everything that she's done is backed by research and extensive research that they've done at Stanford. And as a math teacher at the time, whenever I was listening to her speak, the challenges that she would present to those fellow math teachers about what you've been doing, why you've been doing it, really kind of open eyes, because some of the stuff that we have just done for years, forever in a math classroom, she's kind of said, well, why are we doing that? What's the purpose of it? And is it really helpful? And so she looks into the research because of it, creates her own research, and sometimes finds that what we're doing is not the best thing. And so I kind of challenge you to look at this website, take a look all around. There's quite a few different things in here. She keeps up with news that she and her colleagues are doing around around mathematics. Here's the evidence if you want to take a look at them. A lot of them are short little articles that she's been interviewed on, or so forth. There are also some courses that you have available to you to take, and some videos and films that you can watch. But there are some specific tasks and ideas that come with lesson plans built in, and this is some of the work that she has done at Stanford, and she has shared so that you can use inside of your own classroom. And so let's see, let me take a look at the first one here. I wanted to look at the growth mindset. So this is on the ucubed.org website that she's at. And so she has a few different activities here, or posters, or things that you can put in your classroom, the science behind it all. And this is, like I said, a really good place to get started on the growth mindset. And so just kind of picking one out of a hat here, you can take a look at, teachers and students believe that everyone can learn math at high levels, but it gives a lot of specifics on what that really looks like and what that means inside of your classroom. And I think especially if you're a math teacher, or if you just take on your RTI class, or even if you just incorporate math inside of your class that is not a math class, the math mindset is very poor for mostly all grade levels. I don't know exactly what year it starts, but I know that by the time they got to me in 6th grade and working with 4th graders, it's definitely there too of, well, I just don't get math. And that is something that unless that really gets taken care of, they're not going to learn to the best of their ability. And so again, I encourage you to think about ways that you can incorporate this, mathematical mindsets of flipping that idea, into something a little bit more, better for the kids, better for your own, mental health, because I know that for me, that was one of the biggest challenges. So, but like I said, this is just one of the ones that is there. Let me bring that back. There are quite a few here that you can take a look at. regarding the mathematical mindset. Also on that, with that in mind, there is a course that is free for students that goes into the mathematical mindset. And so, and you can take a look here on the page here, a free online course, and you can pick whether it's English or Spanish. If I remember correctly, you kind of, you are the teacher are the one that gets started here, and it kind of sets it up for them. I'm going to take a look at the people in this call. Is Paula here? I know that Paula had taken a look at this before. Paula Bryson, did you ever do these with your kids?
I stepped away to go get a glass of water. So where are we at?
The online course for growth mindset with Joe Bowler.
No, I did not. Back when I was going to do it with my 6th graders, it had to be from a parent, I could not do it from a teacher perspective. It had to be done from a parent perspective.
Okay. And so, but right now, in this environment that we're in, that would not be impossible. But it would take some work on both parts. I remember there was something that kept you from doing it. I wasn't sure if you went into it or not. But it is available right here that you can, first of all, take a look at an article to read it on, but provide at least parents with the documentation and the links that they would need to get this started. And so taking a look at it. And Paula, before you go on mute and go get like a cereal or whatever for breakfast, do you want to speak any more on Joe Bowler and some of the takeaways that you had when we were able to hear her?
Oh, she was amazing. Just listening to her talk gave me such because I don't teach 6th grade anymore, but just it gave me so much hope. And I would always go back to class and try everything that she suggested. And sometimes as math teachers, we all get in a rut a little bit and we get frustrated. And after listening to her the couple of times I did, I just felt so much hope going back with my kids. So I really enjoyed her.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that she shared that was so interesting to me, and it does go into this to the website, and I'm going to share this, is the idea of timed tests. And as someone who always did timed tests, I didn't realize the harm that might have been caused by this. And what the study showed at the time, and I'm not going to go over the entire article here, but again, as someone who used to do this, it was an eye-opening listening to her talk about this. That the mathematical brain, when they would study the brain and what is actually happening inside it, with all the pistons firing, I guess. That a high level student versus a regular ed student versus even a special education student, the work that the brain is doing whenever they're doing math, and basically it came down to the higher that their brain was working, the more pistons are firing, the brighter the brain lit up. And what they found is that special education students have to work the hardest in order to get work done, which makes a lot of sense. But what they found was that basically any timed test that you gave your students, and we're talking about like the multiplication in a minute type ones, and the adding and subtracting in so much time. What they basically found is that we turn the even high level students' brains look like a special education student's brain whenever they are doing these timed tests. And so, and one of the things that gets pointed out here is that one teacher explained that when she gave a weekly timed test, because the first time she gave it, many of her students cried, and she wants to get them used to it. And we want to kind of just like fight our way through and just fix everything. But whenever it really comes down to it, the brain wasn't getting fired up because of the math. It was getting fired up because we were introducing anxiety to the students. So this is a good news article to take a look at. One of the other things that she shared, and I'm going to come back here, and I believe it's under, and I'm going to have to find this again. I thought I got the link for it, but I didn't. Number sense, I believe. What they found is that students that use their fingers in math, which is again something that we always kind of fight against, we want to break that habit from them. But what they found is that the kids who are using fingers at the younger grades to work out their problems end up having less math anxiety. And one of the things that she recommended that we actually do with that, apparently I'm not in the right spot. There is I'm going to search for it. Well, let me take a look at one more spot here. What we can do as teachers, though, is provide them with activities that allow them to practice using their fingers in a better way. And basically her outcome was, don't worry if they're using their fingers in certain ways. In fact, you need to kind of embrace that and teach them how to do things better with it. Get them so that that practice kind of helps them along the way. And yeah, let me search. Activities for finger training. Here it is. Activities for finger training, and these are activities that would be great for any age. Well, yeah, I say any age, especially in the younger grades, right? But it involves putting little dots on their fingers, and here's all the directions. But then they follow the lines with those. With the correct finger that has the dot on it. And of course, then there's different kind of levels of the mazes that practice in different ways. And again, that the research that they did showed that the students who did this on a regular basis, who were practicing, using their fingers in this way, that it translated into the mathematical classroom. So interesting stuff. And there's quite a few different ones here that we can't really do too much whenever we are at a distance, but you might be able to find a way to do that, to maybe put some stickers in a packet that they can pick up and kind of walk them through it, and it would be a little fun activity. Has anyone else used anything from UCubed that they would like to share along the way? Deb, it looks like you've used some of the tasks. They are challenging, some of them, yes, but they're very good. Okay, Nicole, you've used some. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to the next one. If I'm cutting you off a little early, but feel free to put it into the chat. Feel free to take yourself off mute and say it there too. The next thing I wanted to show everyone was the Dan Meyer's blog. And Paula can tell you as well, Dan Meyer is like my math crush, I guess. We heard him speak. I've heard him speak a couple times now as well. And he kind of changed the way I looked at mathematics teaching as a whole. And I came back from listening to him speak, and I did everything different in my class, and my students and me, we loved it. And so Dan Meyer is actually has a connection to Joe Bowler. He was a former student of Joe Bowler at Stanford. And he has since gone on from there he has his own Guinness World Record for one thing that he's done, but he has really kind of changed the way some students and teachers teach math across the country using 3-act math problems. And so this is his blog that is, I believe it's like, 15 years old. It's whenever he was teaching. It was the stuff that he was doing at the time. But really the good stuff comes right in here if you click on the 3-act math. There are specific lessons that go along into a 3-act math problem. But I don't want to go too far into 3-act math without talking about what a 3-act math problem is. And there is a video that I can share that has this. And I'm going to have to change the way I share for you to be able to listen to it.
My name is Dan Meyer. I taught high school math for 6 years to students who did not like math, and now I'm on a doctoral fellowship at Stanford studying curriculum design and teacher education. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a camera out, a video camera or a photo camera, and I'm taking a picture of that real world scenario in such a way that the question that's buried at the bottom in the last step of the textbook problem is the first thing on that student's mind. I want to make that question irresistible to a student, so they have to know the answer. Then I take that interest and I layer math on top of it. Our goal in my classes is to let math serve conversation, to let math serve prediction and betting and arguing, not the other way around. We don't do all of that to serve the math. So here's an example, is I took a flip camera out, little cheap camera, put on a tripod, and I shot a basketball shot in front of it. And then I took that video file and I just carved it up and I made this half video where the ball kind of strobes in the air and then hovers halfway between me and the hoop. And that's a good moment because I don't have to ask the question there. You know what the question is. The students are feeling the question. Is that ball going to go in the hoop? And from there, I can take bets and predictions. We all put a guess on the record. I show a few more shots, some that obviously are going to miss, some that may make it. And from there, you want to know the answer. Am I right or wrong? And so I throw you into a simulator where you are modeling the parabola on top of that, and you can see, like, okay, it's going to continue and miss or go in. And the best part about using multimedia in these instances, one of the great parts, is that I don't have to turn to the back of the teacher's edition and tell you, well, the textbook says you're right. Or as the teacher, I say, you're right. We just watch the end of the video. And from that, I can be a co-learner with my students. Like, we're working on it here, and they're asking me, am I right? And I'm saying, beats me. Let's find out. It's a good moment. Another example is the classic boat in the river problem, which students on paper have a hard time wrapping their heads around it, where you have a kayaker going upstream and downstream. So I'm thinking, where can I find an upstream and a downstream in my day-to-day life? And take the camera out there and film it. And it occurs an escalator. I can walk up the down escalator, and that's going against the current. So I take my camera, I shoot it, and then I've set the end of the video up in such a way that the question on everybody's mind is, how long is it going to take him to go up the down escalator? You see me pause there, and it's hard not to think that question. And from there, we take guesses. What do you think? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 seconds? I'll ask you for, what do you know is a wrong answer? I'll ask you, my struggling learner, for a wrong answer. Give me a number that's too high, that's too low. And from there, I'm involving students at a very low investment that has huge return, because you're setting error bounds on your answer already. Or here's an example. How long will it take to fill up a water tank? You got a hose.
I'm actually going to pause it right there. And there is the problem that he's about to talk about. He talks a little bit more about it. I think I just stopped the recording. No, I'm recording again. Whoops. I clicked the wrong button there. So the recording is going to stop. All right, so let me present one more time. The TED Talk that he did, I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's quite a bit longer than the video that we just watched. But again, it is very, very worth your time if you're interested in the 3-act math problems. And the reason I wanted to bring in 3-act math problems, one, because they're amazing and I love them. And they are well worth your time, and you will be surprised with if you do them. You'll be surprised by the amount of interaction that you get from kids that you normally never hear from in a math class. And so I kind of recommend you taking a look at them. But the reason I wanted to speak more about them is because I know that the Envisions Math has 3-act math problems built into them. And they are very clean. They're, it starts you off with that, what's that question that everyone can figure out themselves, and you never have to actually give them that question. They give you the question. And then that second part is trying to figure out what the information is that's important and what they need to know, and to get rid of all the information that they don't need to know. And then finally, that third act is figuring out, well, what is the answer to that question? And again, those are built into some of the Envision problems that you can try out yourself. And again, I think it's well worth the time. I started with the with coming into here with all of the activities that he has put up on his website, but this idea of 3 math problems, since he's kind of gotten started on this, has really gotten much bigger. And so you can find 3-act math problems in quite a few different locations now. And if you are someone who uses 3-act math problems and maybe not from this website, feel free to add it into our research document. I've tried quite a few of these in here, and every single one of them, the kids have just absolutely adored and have really gotten into it in every single way. And so yeah, I do recommend it. So any comments or questions about Dan Meyer's 3-act math before we head on to the next thing? Has anyone tried 3-act math? Nicole has. Paula, I know you have. Nicole, what did you think about? What do you think about 3-act math problems?
I really liked them. I actually used a couple of them for one of my observations a couple of years ago, and it went really well. And I think at the time we were doing volume in the classroom, so he had some really good examples of how to use that.
And you said that you did them for your observation, and I can also attest to getting much higher scores on your observation when you do these types of problems in your class, because again, the engagement that happens there, and just the wow, not just from the students but from your administrators whenever you're doing these, really is worth the effort that they take. So I bet you got pretty good scores that day, Nicole. Okay, the next thing, as long as there's no more. Oh, I've found the link for that finger activity. There's also a. I put it in a different spot. So I wanted to go back really quick to U cubed, because it's not just it wasn't just the finger activities that I forgot about, but here's a walk the graph, and again, the research it goes along with this is located at U cubed, so you can kind of take a look at it. But if you are someone who does graphing in your classroom, doing walk the graphs is a really great thing to have. So you can find this on the website as well, but you can just do a Google search for walk the graph. Okay, so that is Joe Bowler and Dan Meyer, my two favorite math humans on the planet, probably. And but so we're going to take a look, kind of go away from the research-based stuff and the activities in that sense, the lessons in that way. We're going to take just a look at some bell ringers and some stuff that you can just put into your class without having to change everything that you do. And I really should have started off with this in the sense of none of what I wanted to show you today is meant to be a replacement to anything that the book, district adopted curriculum does inside of your classroom. And I should have started off with that in the sense that, if you're an administrator and you're worried, are my teachers, not going to be following along with the district adopted curriculum, that is not what this is about. It's about sticking to the curriculum, but providing some supplemental resources along the way. So I apologize for not mentioning that earlier. Two bell ringers are the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And with over the past few weeks inside of this, the lessons that I've been doing here, I've been showing off these next two. So you might have already seen these just a little bit, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about them this morning. Can everyone see the Which One Doesn't Belong website that's on there right now? I want to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Okay, thank you. The next two things are really meant for two reasons. One, to be as kind of the thing just to get you started for the day. Really quick things that you can use just to get started inside of your class. And these really can be, any grade level can use these, whether you are pre-K or whether you're a senior in high school. If you teach seniors, you can use these inside of your math class because they're really meant to just be almost conversation starters on where they're coming from in their mathematical thinking. And you can really dive into, almost anyone's idea here. And what they express to you, you can kind of get a lot of information based on that. So the first one is Which One Doesn't Belong? And what you are tasking your students to do on this, on these openings is to just simply find one thing that doesn't belong. And what ends up happening is, and if I take a look at this one right here, this one on the far left for shapes, what ends up happening is there's quite a few different answers that are involved here. And so, for example, this is the only one of the four that has more than 3 sides. So this might be the answer for some students. This requires no mathematical thinking at all. It's a different color than the rest. So could be the answer for them. This has a different angle than the others, so it might be it has interior and exterior angles, right? And so it would be the only one that does that. But there's all sorts of things that you can get out of this information. But the same thing goes for the numbers. The same thing goes for the graphs and equations. And the idea is just to get them to take a side and share their information on that side. And so we're going to do one today. And I want everyone to, let's see, I picked one out earlier. Here we go. Just because, again, this one doesn't really require any mathematical thinking involved. So we're going to do the speed limit sign here, and I want each person to pick a sign that does not belong with the rest, and I am going to create a poll inside of the chat. So pick your side, and you're going to share it here in 1 second. All right, I have launched that poll, so you should have a poll that showed up inside of the chat. If you can click on your poll and go ahead and vote which one doesn't belong. We have 37 people in here, so Ivan, the poll is not working for you. What is it doing?
I want an iPad, so it's not showing up at all.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to help with that. I've never used Google Meet on an iPad.
Yeah, the iPads are like way different. There's a lot of things you can't do that we've struggled with, like blurring backgrounds and stuff.
And I know that hasn't been turned on in a lot of different ways. Yes, and everyone, it is under activities. So if you go into the top right of your page, you'll click on the activities button, which has the triangle, square, and circle, and you will click on the activities and click on polls, and that's how you'll vote. Going back to the like blurred backgrounds, that is not the only for actual people, it hasn't been turned on for some reason. So we've been trying to kind of work with that to figure out why that's the case. But I know that especially with iPads, it becomes a little bit more tricky on what you can and can't do.
Right, that's been an issue we've had with students that use like cell phones and stuff.
Right.
If they get like they can't blur their background, so they keep the camera off, stuff like that.
Sure. I'm gonna give everyone about 15 more seconds.
Stephen, is there any way to turn off the backgrounds? Because with first graders, they finally found the background button and they just think it's the greatest thing to get lost inside those backgrounds. Is there any way for teachers to turn those off?
Tell them to get on an iPad, I guess. No, unfortunately, there's not a way to turn it off that we have found yet. They turned it on and you can use it if you want to, but yeah, I know that it has become a distraction for a few.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to share the results of the poll. Actually, before I do that, does anyone that picked 45, would they like to explain why they picked 45? I have a really good wait time, by the way. Okay, it says speed limit. It's the only one that says speed limit. The other ones say maximum. Okay. Okay, the top right. Does anyone want to explain why they picked the top right?
Three digits.
The only one with 3 digits. Okay, does anyone want to explain the bottom left?
I don't like conversions. I'd just be driving 100.
There you go. It's the only one that says kilometers per hour, right? No one picked the bottom right, and I'm going to share the results now that we've kind of gone through that. No one picked the bottom right.
I did 70.
Okay, someone did, but it didn't show up in the poll. So what? Why did you pick the bottom right?
It was the only one that's first digit was odd.
Ah, very nice.
The main, like, I don't know why, but the 7, because I guess the 1's odd too, huh?
I guess the 1 is odd now that I look at that too.
But I read it as a 10 and a 0.
Okay. It's the only odd number in the tens column. How about that, right?
That sounds better than my dumb answer.
No, it's good. So that's kind of the thing. You can always find something along the way for these. And so the whole point of these is just to get conversations started and get people to take a side and go from there. So good stuff here. Any questions or comments about which one doesn't belong before we move on? All right, the next thing I have is estimation180.com, and this was my go-to for my bell ringers. Whenever I was teaching, I would use, I didn't know about which one doesn't belong, but I did do some things like that just to kind of get math talks started. But estimation 180 is the place that I would go because, again, mostly any single grade can come here. maybe not the little ones. They can definitely get started, but this is all about building number sense, and so it is good for, like I said, for any age to get started, because number sense is lacking with a lot of kids. And I'm talking about the goal. I should start with this. The goal behind Estimation 180. Let's just go ahead and do one here. So I'm going to click on the days up here at the top. I'm going to go into days 1 through 20. And they call it Estimation 180 because there used to be 180 of these, but now there's actually 240 of them. So they've expanded since I've used them in my class. And what it does is it gets you started. Just here we go. Here is this Mr. Stadell. And it says how tall is he, and students have to use an estimation to figure out what the answer is. And let me go on to one of the ones that really gets kids like fired up. Here we go. Is how many almonds are in the cup? And this is one that I did just a few. You know what? Because I did it in a lesson just a few months ago or weeks ago, I'm going to go ahead and pick a different one because I want to do one today. Okay. Let's go right here. Day 31. Total paper towels. What the goal of this is, again, is to get them to just kind of use number sense. So it gives you the length of a long paper towel. It gives you the length of a toilet paper just for kind of size comparison. But what the question's asking is how many sheets on the paper towels are on the roll. So we have the paper towels here. How many sheets go around are currently on this this roll. And what students have to do is they have to figure out a number that is definitely too small of a number. And this is kind of the beauty of it all, is because now you're getting kids involved in a starting spot where they don't need to have any information. They don't even have to be good guessers. They just have to know a number that's definitely too small. And you might get kids that say 1, that here's 1 here, so I know that that number is definitely greater than 1. And that's a okay spot to be at the beginning. You kind of want to push them, right? Well, okay, if you know that that's too small, what about 2? Well, what about 3? Okay, so keep going until you know that it's definitely too small, but that you're not really feeling comfortable about it anymore. But then you're going to do the same thing. What number is too high? And when we kind of heard Dan Meyer talk about this in the video, where he kind of gives them this problem, or they think of this problem, but then they're saying, then the question then becomes, well, okay, give me some estimations on this. How, and in his example, it was him going up the stairs. You know, what is definitely too small of a number, and what's definitely too big of a number? And so that's kind of what this is built around. What is too small of a number? What is too big of a number? And what number is right on? So I want you to predict this. We can't do really a poll for this since you're doing it at the computer. But if you could type in 3 numbers, and you're going to put them the low number, the high number, and the just right number. And just type it into the chat. Give you about 15 more seconds. There you go, Desiree. That's the idea. Yeah, Paula. Definitely too high. That's what you want to go with, right? And I'm telling you, the conversations that you have with kids during that time, that kids have with each other during that time, I mean, they will call other people out for these answers, and that's, you know, you have to have the rapport with the kids. You can't have them calling each other out on day one. But whenever you're 20 days into these estimations, and you know someone throws out an estimation that's like way too big, or maybe not big enough when it should be too big, the conversations that they have with each other are really, really, really worth it. So let's figure out. There is always a reveal with these. So I'm going to click on the reveal, and there are 80 sheets. There are 80 sheets here. So, so did anyone do 80 for their just right number? I see a 50, a 99, and 80. Amy's got it. Amy, right on the nose. Did anyone else get 80? Nope. Amy, you win a digital high five. So there you go. These, a lot of times they build on each other. So my guess is there may have been a question. Yeah, so how many sheets are not just on this big roll? Now you're talking about, well, okay, this is 80. Then the next day is going to give them a smaller roll and say how many are on this roll. And so, in fact, this one's a video reveal. So, so you go in that way. So, estimation 180 again. It was my favorite, favorite place to go for warm-ups at the beginning, just because it builds number sense and it builds good conversation at the beginning of your classroom. And if I can get my kids with better number sense and talking at the beginning of class, so that about mathematics, so that whenever we got into the things that were a little bit more difficult to talk about, but at least they had already said something for the day, the ice was broken, then I always felt like I did my job. It was a good use of my time. Any other comments about estimation 180 before we head on to the next little bit? I've talked for too much. As per the usual, I have left very little time for my last couple things. My last couple things are not quite as hidden as others. I think a lot of people in around the district use these next two items, so I'm just going to kind of go over them as quickly as I can here. The next thing is Prodigy. Prodigy Math. We at 6th Grade Academy, we started using Prodigy. Gosh, it's been 7 years since we've been using this, or since we started using this, I should say. And this is a math game that is kind of built like an RPG type, where the kids are role playing and they go and they fight and do all these things, but it's all built around math. And let me pull up what it looks like on the kids' side here. It's kind of built like an old Final Fantasy game where they, let's see, let me just join something really quick, where they have to kind of walk around. There we go. Tell your kids don't do what I just did and just kind of click through. This is my son's account, so he is Ben, what is it, Ben Lungs? Legend Sword, good name. And I'm playing with other people, and there we go. So it stops whenever you kind of meet an enemy. It stops, and it will ask them certain questions. And so they pick like an attack that they have to beat this other person with, and then the question asks how many vertices there are. And you can see that it gives them a little bit of help. If you click on this, it'll tell them, well, what is a vertice? Oh, it's where two sides meet. And they can have that read out loud if they are not readers yet. So it really does go with anyone, any grade level, up to the 8th grade, I believe, is the math. And so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 6 sides. So I'm going to click 6. And I got it correct. And it'll tell them if it's wrong and so forth. All right. So that is what Prodigy looks like for the kids. It is giving them math problems that just make a game of it. They have to basically beat these people along the way, and they're doing math every step. They can earn gold, which they can use to buy certain things, and the kids really, really, really enjoy it. On the teacher's side, though, there's really a lot going on now, and at one point it wasn't nearly as much as it is now. I'm on the wrong spot. Actually, I don't have a class in here. So here's what it looks like on the teacher's side. And this is some classrooms that my wife has. And so you can see all the work that has been done this week. So she has not kind of told her kids to go there this week. But you can see that a couple of them still have done it during Thanksgiving week when no work was due. Some of them still decided to go on. So they will do this on their own time, especially those that really, really enjoy it. But what's nice is you can get some reports here of the work that they've done, including a placement test. So you can give them certain work, or you can put them on the placement test that will place them in a good spot. You can kind of use this as an RTI in that sense, where you are placing them where they need to be mathematically, and then that they work from there. And you can give them, I think it's kind of like a beginning of year, end of year, middle of year. It gives these placement tests, but you can send them one at any time if you'd like. If you click on the assessments button here, you can create your own assessment. So this is my wife's, well, I don't want to do it in this class since it's an actual class, but here's one that we have just with my son. So he was playing it on Monday. I would love to say that we didn't tell him to, but we did. We told him to get on for a little bit just to play. But on the assessment, you can see here that you can create any assessment and you can put them in a standard. And what this top one does here is it will take any standard that that is Common Core just as an example, and let's say I pick this one, use addition and subtraction with 20. It will take all of the practice problems that go along with this standard, and it will kind of cycle them through. And one that I picked yesterday said that it will take them about 50 minutes to get through this entire standard, all of the questions involved with this standard. And maybe not this one particularly, but the one that I had clicked yesterday. And so all of the questions that they get will go around this standard. So if you want them to work on one specific standard, it can do that. In addition to that, you can pick basically an assessment, an assignment, or a quiz on a certain set of skills. And so as an example, I can, let's see, I can go to second grade instead of the New Mexico Common Core, which is perfectly fine. I can just go to the regular Common Core, which is probably going to be almost the same thing. But I can do 2D shapes as an example. And here I can actually take a look at what specific questions that the students are going to get. So I can kind of match the problems up here that go along maybe with what I'm doing in Envision, so that everything is working hand in hand. And so maybe I pick these 3 things that I needed them to work on, and now I can pick how many questions that they will get. And what it ends up happening is they play the game like they normally do. They play it regularly. They just play. And what it's going to do is 3 of their next 9 questions will be for this standard. 3 of their next 9 questions after that will be for this standard. And then finally 3 of the last questions will be in this standard, and you will get, and so maybe 9 is not a fun number for you to grade with, but maybe you can pick 10. You can change these. You can do up to 25 questions per standard at any given time. And so after these next 10 questions have been answered, you will get feedback from the kids on how they did, and you will get a grade, and you'll be able to see what questions they got right, which questions they got wrong along the way. And so if I were to click on, let's see, I don't know if it works from here. If I go into, it's a lot different than whenever I was doing it before. But there is a, maybe it's the assignments and the plans here. Yeah. Yeah, you can view the report and see what questions that Sai answered correctly. He got these questions right, and here's the ones that they dealt with. But if you do an assignment, it gives you a grade for each of the students, and then it breaks it down a little bit better than this, which I have not, we didn't give him an assignment on here, so that's why it doesn't come up. But completely well worth your time. Anyone in here that has used Prodigy, maybe I'm missing something awesome, want to share before we move on to the last little bit? They absolutely do love battling each other, so much so that we had to ban it in my classroom for a little bit because they wanted to get that like perfect move off on their friends, and they would like anyway. They got way too like competitive about it. But yeah, if they do it well, then they love it. This was blocked in the district for a short time and is no longer blocked. So go team. We got that cleared away. All right. The last little bit that I wanted to show you really is, again, it's one for any grade level. But having said that, it is almost too perfect in this current predicament that we're in. And that's the use of Khan Academy. And Khan Academy is not this like, little known about place anymore. But if you've never tried it, if you've never really gone in there and set up your classes and stuff, I really, really do recommend it. I know there has been some issues. I know that Tiffany King at the high school has had a little bit of issues getting her classes actually to sync together. I don't know if Tiffany's here this morning.
I have at least one class that won't sync at all now.
And we haven't figured out on our end. We don't think it's on our end. But I know that Tiffany had been working with some of us, with our Stephen Moreno to kind of get some stuff worked out. I'm not sure where that stands, but that's not to dissuade you, because it really, really is one of the better tools that we have available to us. And so let me sign in here. And again, what does it look like on the student side? Coming over here, they click on, they're just given a list of assignments. So here's an assignment that I gave him. It was me yesterday that did this. I didn't make him get on Khan Academy. But here's a video that he completed. If I click start, so this is again on the student side. If I click start, it gives them a 2 minutes and 37-second video, and they have to watch it. And if they click out of it early, then it does not give them credit for watching it. But once they complete it, then it does give them credit. So it really starts off with videos, and then it adds activities along the way. So here's an activity. This gives them 7 problems. So we're going to say, let's go. And here's the question. Use the groups of objects to help solve 3 and 4. And so they answer these problems. So the answer, if they put 8, which is incorrect, right? It tells them give it another shot. So they can't really move on until they get the right answer. But they are given the opportunity to watch a video to give them more information. And when they get it, then they get a little confetti that flies everywhere, and then it says you get to keep going. And so it is not a dumb assignment. It's not a worksheet where they can just put whatever they want on the paper and then move on to the next thing. It's a smart assignment in that sense. As far as on the teacher side, what does it look like? I'm going to come over here. Actually, I'm going to come up to the top right and click on the teacher dashboard. And I guess I was on the teacher dashboard. Let's see. Okay, so here's all my students. Here's the activity overview. So it tells me, who the student is, what they've done, how many learning minutes that they've done. I can click over here and figure out what skills that they've done along the way. Because we haven't really gotten started with this, obviously there's not that much information there. But I can go into the assignments and do a better job of looking. Okay, so I can see that he finished this video, he did not finish this video, and he did not finish this activity. So you do get to keep track of your students along the way on what work that they've done, and you can assign them more. And assigning them more looks as easy as this. So if we're working on money and time in the 2nd grade, I can come through here, and first of all, I can just give them everything. I don't really recommend assigning that many things at one time unless they absolutely need it. But I can come in here and kind of break it down in a way to give them maybe this, and then the activity, or or whatever the case is, and break it down. So you are given full control over what the students are doing inside of the class. Now, the students can then also join other classes, so they can take other courses here. And so here's a course that, so again, this is on the student side. Here's the courses in second grade that they can get started on. Here is even some like second grade JavaScript computer programming, for kids that might need a little bit more pushing into keeping their brain occupied with good things. They can come into these and do some courses on their own. So again, there's quite a few ways to get this going. For the kids, for yourself, to get started. Let's see, going into here, go to my teacher dashboard. It's as easy as going into your teacher dashboard, clicking add new class, and clicking import from Google Classroom. And so it'll walk you through every step of the way. That's really all you have to do to get started. So I know that quite a few of the high school teachers use Khan Academy. If you have not gotten started in there, I really, really do recommend it. It is well worth your time and effort getting it going. And if sharing the videos, even just sharing the videos, even if you are just absolutely done making videos in Kami, there is a whole host of videos that you can borrow, to use a nice term, to send to your students that way, and build your work around that. So I'm sorry I went 3 minutes over. I spoke too long today. Are there any comments about Khan Academy or anything as a whole that you would like to add?
So with Khan Academy, you can also pull in curriculum from so like my courses are set up for geometry, but if I find that my students are lacking Algebra 1 skills, I can pull in this assignments for Algebra 1. It's not just limited to the particular subject.
Yeah, so if you teach even just like 5th grade, if you have a kid that really, really needs help, that is doing second grade, work, and they're missing key components from 2nd grade, you can go back to any grade level, you can go up to any grade level and assign work specifically for that student or for your entire class if they need it. So it's a great intervention as well. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time. That is the sign-in sheet from today. Also, here is the list of resources that I used, and it is open to edit. So if anyone, and I saw some things that got added to that sheet, and here it is. If you would like to add some more, so we have Desmos, we have Math is Fun. If you think of any along the way, feel free to add them here. I would love for these to be for this to be something that you can share out for new teachers or anything like that, to get started. This afternoon, we're going to be doing a supplemental ELA website, and so here's some of the ones that we're going to get started on this afternoon. And we have a guest presenter coming in for that, and so you don't have to hear me all afternoon. But feel free again to share these resources out and check back on them, as the weeks go on. If I think of any more, I can add them to here. So again, thank you all for attending. I spoke 5 minutes too long, but I will go ahead and be quiet now. If you have any questions that came up along the way, please, stay on for just a few minutes. Or shoot me an email, whatever works best for you, and we can work through it. So thank you to everyone who attended, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Steve, I did have a question about the 3-act math problems.
Sure.
Are they, mostly for upper grades, or can they be brought down to younger grades? Or
so the spreadsheet that was shared it's really a lot for like middle grade. So like starting in like 4th grade to like 8th grade, maybe not even 8th grade, maybe 7th grade, give or take. Now, having said that, I do recommend you looking into the Dan Meyer TED Talk, because his talk kind of goes in how he got started in using them, and the reason I say that is because while they might not all be done for you, you can kind of see like he just took like questions out of his, the Envision math book as an example, and broke it down into what's it really asking, and how can you make a 3-act math problem based on that. So in my time, whenever I was teaching 6th grade, Paula and I worked together on a lot of that stuff. And we made probably a dozen more 3-act math problems that were just geared towards what we needed inside of the classroom. And
Okay.
some of it was just like taking a picture and asking a question based on that. So there's not a lot to it. I mean, it has to be mathematically sound for it to work. But if you are a young, grade level or an upper grade level, there you can definitely, it's really just the structure of what you're asking the kids to do. But I think it's a good place to start, no matter what grade level you're going with.
Yeah, I really liked his video and his ideas. So I thought, well, if we could design our own, maybe start in Envisions and see what they're about, and then try to teach some of those, and then
absolutely, and that's where I would start, because they have put those in there. It's going to give you an idea of what it kind of looks like, what the feel of these problems are. And I'm telling you, my kids would prefer to do a 3-act math problem every single day in class. They loved doing them. I loved teaching them. It's a great place to be. So, and if you need any help with it, I would be happy to sit with you guys while you're doing some lesson planning on that. I've done plenty of it before, and any help that I can give, just let me know.
Thank you. I sure will. And thank you for this. This was fun.
Great.
And I'm going to look into the 3-act. I just totally skipped those pages in Envision. So this opened my eyes to that. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am. You have a good one.
You too.
All right. Anyone else? Amanda, what you got?
Hey, Steven. Hey, my pair. So I guess, I like what you're showing, and I've even tried to approach